Hi, I'm Michael Lahoud, color analyst for Austin FC, and you're listening to the Austin Anthem podcast.
So what do we want to talk about? I mean, this can honestly be the start right here. What do we want to talk about? Or is there anything to talk about? This is Connor Heffernan, obviously. You're listening to the Austin Anthem podcast. I'm with Bark Turner. Say hello to everyone, Bark.
Ruff.
As you can tell, that is not Bark Turner.
It's the name. So listeners won't know this, but when we record, you type in your name when you enter the Zencaster room, and everyone, very boringly puts their regular name. I thought, in honor of the Austin FC announcement today, the exciting announcement about our mascot, not really a mascot, but that was so cool, and so I wanted to give a nod to the puppies. Hence, Bark Turner.
Let's start the show. Welcome to episode 66 of the Austin Anthem podcast, the longest running soccer podcast in Central Texas. I am your host, Connor Heffernan, running the show this week, and my co-hosts for this week are Robert Avery, Mark Turner, and Matt Barber. We're going to be talking a lot about a number of club announcements that came out, from new beer to new sponsors, a new mascot, as well as another installment of Trash or Cash in our MLS Updates segment, and a ton of world soccer that's been going on. But first, our Austin FC updates. First things first, we have a new mascot, thanks to a partnership with Austin Pets Alive. Mark, you are super excited about this. Please tell the folks how this is working, and honestly, just why this is so fantastic compared to what so many other clubs around the world have to subject themselves to with mascots.
Well, yeah, I am excited about this. I think this is a fantastic partnership for a number of different reasons. I think the ability to be able to bring an increased profile to Austin Pets Alive is fantastic in and of itself. They're an important part of the fabric of this city. And we know that folks love their pets in Austin, but particularly their dogs, right? If you're walking around downtown, in any of the parks, I'm at Zilka every Sunday, there's dogs as far as the eye can see. I'd suggest you go into any office block, because many of the offices as well are dog friendly. Folks love their dogs in this city. So I think it's a perfect union. It'll also provide an opportunity as well for the dogs to be showcased is the right word, but through exposing those dogs to fans on match day, it'll increase the opportunities for those dogs to be homed. So I just think this is phenomenal, not least of all because Austin FC have done a really wonderful job here of sidestepping the agonizing process ordinarily of coming up with a mascot that at least half the fan base detest. So his thumbs up all the way around. What do the rest of you guys think?
Well, as someone who played a very unwilling but unfortunately key role in the reveal of one of the more notorious mascots in professional soccer history, I'm ecstatic that Austin FC is not going to go down the same path.
What was this notorious mascot?
Google San Antonio Scorpions, Sting, and the rest is history that I prefer not to have my name attached to.
I'm actually doing that right now. San Antonio Scorpions. Come on, listeners. This is great radio. Play along. San Antonio.
If you're driving, please don't Google and drive.
Mascot. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Images. It looks like a poo in a shirt.
Well, with arms.
Yeah, and some very well developed biceps. Wow. Yeah, that was worth a Google. Okay, cool.
Not one of my prouder moments.
Robert, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, Austin Pets Alive has always been my go-to for dogs in this city. The 3 that I used to have, we got from Austin Pets Alive. So anytime they partner with a big organization or a team, such as Austin FC, it's great for the animals. It's great for the city. I'm a huge fan.
That wasn't the only partnership announced by Austin FC this past week. We also have a new auto partnership with Lexus. Matt, can you tell the folks a little bit about what's in this deal?
Well, apparently, if you went out to one of the Verde vans, you also could have gotten $1,000 off, a new Lexus, which, sounds awesome. I think it also speaks to the power of the Austin FC brand in town, that a luxury brand like Lexus would want to attach themselves to the club. So it's it shows that the marketing clout that they have very, very quickly built in Austin and Central Texas.
Okay, I'm going to address the elephant in the room. This is a fantastic partnership. But is anyone else wondering how we didn't end up with Lincoln?
No,
that would have been ideal given given McConaughey's dealings with them in the past. You would think.
I mean, I'm not complaining. Lexus is a great brand. Delighted to be associated with them, but yeah. I was just wondering if maybe an intern was told, hey, go ahead and call that company, see if you can get sponsorship. The car company, the one McConaughey's, it begins with Al.
And that intern got promptly fired.
Well, selfishly,
that would have
or promoted.
I feel for that intern. Hey, you know what? Maybe McConaughey wanted to increase the number of revenue streams. Who knows? But with all that being said, and all these new partnerships, that was not the biggest story at all from this past week. Of course, I'm referring to the MLS schedule being released completely. Robert, what are some of your top Austin FC matches that you are just going to be really looking forward to coming up this season?
Can I say every single match? Is that allowed?
No.
And why not? I'm excited for every single one of the matches that we're playing this season.
We know we're all excited for every single match, but I'm asking for the top matches that you are most excited for.
Okay, fine. The first match, LAFC. The second match, Colorado, just because I will be in Colorado, regardless if I get to actually go to the match or not. And when we play Seattle.
How about everyone else?
Whoa. Okay. Listeners are listening to this, people, and they're going to want answers. Robert, why Seattle?
Why? So before Austin had a club, Seattle was my team I supported.
There you go.
I have friends in Seattle, been there multiple times. The stadium. Yeah.
How many Seattle jerseys do you still have, Robert? Admit it.
You'll be surprised to know I don't have any Seattle kits. I may actually buy the one that Mr. Bark Turner over there is wearing. But no, I
Insert
don't.
Jimi Hendrix riff here.
Yeah, please.
And get DMCA'd for it. All right. No, I don't own any Seattle, but that's really the reason why I'm looking forward to that match. Usually they're at the top of the table or, within the top 3 positions within the West in any given season. So it'll be a good test for Austin when they play them.
Everyone else? Matt, what are your top matches?
I was about to say you can't throw it open and just have us talking over one another.
I thought it would be funny for everyone to hear.
I was not going to say anything.
It's happening right now.
All right, I have 4, and not probably 4 that most people would automatically guess. So number 1 for me is
Saint Etienne
first. It was in consideration.
Real Sociedad.
Sociedad.
Real Sociedad. Look, I'm not Connor. I can actually say it properly.
Are you in round 3? Okay. No. First, I at Minnesota United May 1st for two reasons. One, because I'm planning to go, and two, because Minnesota is one of the only 7 U.S. states I have not been to, so I'll knock that off my list. So I'm actually really excited about that one. Then, basically the beginning and end of August, when we have our first matches against Houston Dynamo and FC Dallas. And final one I'm excited about is the season ender at Portland, because it's long been on my soccer bucket list to go to a match at Providence Park. So that I'm super excited about.
So I'm going to keep my powder dry on this a little bit, because I feel like this has been talked to death. I shouldn't really be saying that, because I know Connor's about to go next and give his picks. But for me, at least, I feel like we've been around the houses with this a lot as a fan base, understandably. And also I'm trying to craft a piece around this, which is hopefully going to drop next week. And so I'm trying to come at it from a new angle, and it would be ridiculous of me to explore that now. And anyway, seems redundant. So what I will say, though, is that through a commitment to attending pretty much every home game, and through the fortuitous position I find myself in with work, in that I travel to many of these cities, I am going to coordinate travel where possible. And I'm attempting to make 26 of the 34 fixtures this year.
Wow.
So
that's impressive.
For those keeping, unless of course I get Dallas fatigue, I'm going to Dallas tomorrow for the La Copita. And then of course we play Dallas mid-season, and then again at the end of the season. I may be sick of Dallas by then, so that one may very well drop off. But if I do go, I've been Dallas twice, Real Salt Lake, Houston Dynamo, the Rapids twice, LA, Minnesota, and Kansas as well. So yeah, be zigzagging across the country. Should be fun.
My favorites are pretty simple. LAFC, first game, you never forget. The home opener against San Jose in June is something I'm really looking forward to. I'm hoping to be in Austin for that game, and it'd be fantastic if I got to go. And then building off of Matt's point, any game against a fellow Texas team, you just have to be up for that. And I'm definitely looking forward to all of those, matches. But while we're talking about all the scheduled games that have been released and haven't yet been played, there has been a friendly match that has been played. It was the first, I guess you'd call it like an actual friendly match as opposed to like a hardcore scrimmage. It was a match in the competition known as La Copita against Houston. Mark was there. Mark, how was the game? Was it like a lot of fun? How did the team perform? Are there any budding relationships that you could tell were like really going to be productive this season? Just share with folks what you saw.
Sure. Yeah, actually, I wasn't at the match. I was watching, I think, like most folks on the app. I was toying with going down, and now I wish I had done. And I may try and do that this Saturday and stand on the verge. But first off, I want to say I think the app was phenomenal. I think it performed really well. Really, really impressed with that. I subscribe to a horrific piece of technology called iFollow, which they use in the UK, which it doesn't matter if you're in the UK or if you're in the US trying to access it in the UK. It's just a piece of crap, but it's what I have to follow Nottingham Forest. This app is so much better than that. So I may be calling the City Ground and giving them a heads up as to the technology that Austin FC are using. But it enabled me to follow along pretty seamlessly. I had a couple of devices going because I was also writing up on the match as well. So that was really, really helpful. And I've already seen doommongers take to Twitter. And I'm just going to preface this by saying I support every fan's right to voice their opinions and to be, Dudley do-right cheerleaders when they have no place being them, and to be doommongers and to be snarling and coming at it with, clenched fists when they really shouldn't be. You do you. right? It's up to you how you want to fan. I'm not here to tell you that, but it is a little tiresome after one scrimmage match against MLS competition for some of the comments that we've seen on Twitter. Offensively, I think we look really, really encouraging. Was it the finished article? No, it's game one of playing MLS opposition. John Gallagher didn't square the ball for Kakuta Mane, as he should have done, for him to tap the ball in. That will come in time. I think every player, to a certain extent, felt like they were on show. They knew the eyes of the fan base were on them. The eyes of a wider media audience were upon them. And I'm not saying they were showing off, but I think, when they got into positions where they felt like they had an opportunity to shine and to score, they maybe got a little greedy. And so I think that decision-making will improve. But overall, I think our offense looked really good. I'm going to stop there because I know there's lots to talk about with the defense, and I want to give other folks on the podcast an opportunity to talk to those things. But I'll just say from an offensive perspective, I'm very encouraged by what we saw. And I am just going to quickly finish up by saying Toto Pochettino. Oh, my goodness. There is no stage in world football that free kick does not grace. That was absolutely gorgeous.
So I'm gonna say let's not tackle the defense. It's been beat to death on every single show, podcast, from here to oblivion, and because it's preseason, first match, as Mark said, I think we got to give them a little bit of leeway. And see what happens this week when they play FC Dallas in a scrimmage, and see if anything is better before we start making judgments on how poor or great our defense is regarding how they're playing.
So for my part, first off, the free kick by Tomas, you just cannot hit a ball from a set piece any better than that. That was a absolute thing of beauty, and something that should get every Austin FC fan excited about any dead ball opportunity in and around the box. So he is an absolute sniper, and I have no doubt that he will put multiple of those in the back of the net while he's with the club. Look, being honest, and if we just take this one match in a microcosm, the defense did not play well. They clearly weren't all on the same page yet, but it was the first match in preseason. You just can't possibly take anything from that and extrapolate it over the full season, saying that this is how the team is or is not going to be. There's some things to work on, and I'm sure they'll work on them. I think what bothered me more were all the unnecessary, unforced turnovers in the midfield, and there were a lot of them. So that's something that I think they absolutely can focus on possession-wise, especially as a team that's trying to play out of the back, every single time. You just cannot give the ball over when you're in your own defensive zone like they did.
Yeah, you look at the goals conceded. Again, let's be honest. I think we have to be moving forward, moving through the season, right? We want to be supportive of the team, but we also want to be honest. We want to be transparent with our analysis. Houston could have scored a couple of goals in the first half. They really could have done. They could have taken advantage of mistakes we made throughout the first half. We were fortunate to go in at halftime up. Second half, they scored some good goals, but the first two goals were defensive errors. The third one, to your point, Matt, was Alex Ring, who I think was absolutely fantastic and my man of the match, just lingering on the ball for a second too long, getting his pocket picked, and obviously an incredible counterattack. They counterattacked with such pace. I think Asante might still be chasing the shadow of that Houston striker. And it's okay. It's okay to acknowledge that we have shortcomings. But firstly, again, keep it in perspective, game one. Secondly, the fact we had shortcomings in that game doesn't A, mean they're terminal, or B, mean they're not specific to that opponent, right? Not every team we play is going to have a lightning fast winger. necessarily. Not every team is going to play the way that Houston do. As Josh Wolf pointed out after the match, playing a 3-4-3, which meant that on the press, Houston had 7 players in our half, pretty close to our box. You try playing through that many bodies. It's not easy. And again, particularly when we're all becoming familiar with one another. You know, one of the things that develops when you're playing with a team for some time is obviously the camaraderie, but also it's the understanding of people's capabilities. You know who's quick on your team. You know who's lightning, right? Who you want to put the ball in front of because you want to create a foot race because you know your teammate's likely to get there. You know who wants it to feet and he's going to unselfishly look to hold the ball up and bring you into play. All of these little nuances, we can't have expected those to have developed in 3 weeks of training. So it's okay to keep the team honest with our analysis. But we've all said this, so I'm going around the houses now, but it's also, we have to keep it in perspective. So I actually thought it was a really encouraging first game. I'm excited to see what they do against Dallas tomorrow. As I mentioned, I'll be there. So I'm excited to be in the stadium and see them with my own eyes. And I expect another entertaining match.
I think that's the key, Mark. I mean, it was entertaining. I mean, for sure. So if nothing else, and especially in our first season where, look, we can talk about expectations and, our thoughts on how the team could or should do. But at the end of the day, we all want to be entertained. And I definitely was.
So moving on into our Austin Anthem updates, the first game of the season against LAFC is going to be on April 17th. It is an away game, which means obviously no fans in the stands here in Austin, or I say here, I'm in DC, but here metaphorically in Austin. So instead, we at the Anthem are going to be putting on a watch party. We have a number of partners to tell you about, from Circle Brewing to Waterloo Sparkling Water, Ultimate Outdoor Entertainment, Huckleberry Hospitality, and Little City Coffee Roasters. Now, you may be wondering, okay, it's cool. Watch party seems pretty nice. Am I actually going to be able to see the game from where I'm sitting if we're all socially distanced? The answer to that question is a resounding yes, because at this watch party will be a 12-foot by 7-foot LED wall for the match. Now, Robert, can you tell listeners a little bit more about how to get tickets to this event, or where it's going to be, and what time they should show up on April 17th?
Yeah, so the event's going to be at Circle Brewing. We'll kick off around 11 a.m. on the morning of the 17th. The match starts at 5, so we'll have fun little things to do. The kids will have some activities. The sponsors will have tents. There'll be some stuff given away.
We'll have the previous match on. That's also on national television that day. I can't remember who it is right at the moment. I think we'll probably also, it's have plenty of Austin Anthem Ale, we can say, will be available for partaking of, because it will finally have been released. This is one of the partnerships that we've been most excited about for a long time. So it officially came out on April the 7th. This was a collaboration between Circle Brewing and Austin Anthem. It's in cans that will be all around town at H-E-B, at Total Wine, at Specs, and Whole Foods, and then obviously it'll be on tap at Circle Brewing itself. Black cans with the grackle on it. We're very proud of this collaboration, and it's frankly an excellent beer.
So be sure to go and get your hands on one of those new Austin Anthem ales. I know that I am really looking forward to getting my hands on one the second I touch down back in Austin. So that brings us on over into our Major League Soccer updates, and we are going to start this week with our listeners' undoubted favorite segment of the show, Trash or Cash.
Ladies and gentlemen, crank up that AC, because it's about to get hot. It's gonna get ugly. It's time for Trash or Cash.
Alrighty, so our first jersey for this segment of Trash or Cash is going to be the one that Mark Turner is wearing right now. It is Seattle's Jimi Hendrix kit. And Mark, since you are wearing it, I feel obliged to ask you first. Seattle's Jimi Hendrix.
How's he going to vote on this one?
Trash or the cash?
Are you serious? I just spent $100 on this thing. Are you serious?
It took your cash.
It took my cash. That's exactly right.
That's the ultimate cash right there, is actually dropping on it.
So I'm glad that Seattle released this shirt, because Seattle are a team I do have a soft spot for. You know, if this was some rando team or some crappy ass team, or God forbid, a fellow Texas team, it would have been problematic for me, because, and there's obviously no reason they would have done that, because the Jimi Hendrix tie is explicit to Seattle. But the fact Seattle did it is awesome, because again, I have a soft spot for them. I visited with Jordan Morris, so I have that connection. And I'm a massive Jimi Hendrix fan. So the minute I saw this image, I kind of freaked out. I mean, I kind of lost it. And I was so excited by what I saw on the screen. And of course, the proof of the pudding is always when you get it in your hands and you put it on. But it's one of the most beautiful football shirts I've ever seen. It's certainly one of the top 3 that I own. So it's trash. No, just kidding. It's 100% cash. Really, really, really love it, if that's not coming through already. Oh, and by the way, any listeners who are listening to this going, how can he be wearing a Seattle Sounders shirt, particularly while he's on an Austin podcast? As I told the guys before we started recording, until we play our first competitive game, I do not consider that I'm cheating on the team. The minute Austin take to the field competitively, April the 17th, this shirt will go on its hanger and will remain in the closet until the season is concluded. I
feel like I could take that same philosophy into marriage, maybe, or no?
You try. Let us know how that goes.
Well, luckily, she doesn't listen to this podcast, so
we'll be reading the obituary columns for your name, Matt.
No, this is total cash. I mean, the collaboration, it's perfect. I mean, Jimmy is, fully linked to Seattle. I mean, the design is, something that is clearly Hendrix. So I think Sounders knocked it out of the park with this, and this is definitely cash.
Yeah, it only needs one word: cash. It's beautiful. I probably end up will buy it as well.
I'll round us out with a cash. Next is going to be Orlando City SC. They dropped their new home jersey recently. And Robert, is it trash or cash?
This jersey is trash. So for our listeners out there, it is purple, 2 shades of purple, with some little spikes in the middle that blend the shades together. And that's it, with the 3 stripes on the shoulders. It's really plain. Not a huge fan of it at all. So trash.
I'll jump in and say it's clean and it doesn't offend me, but I think what makes it trash for me is the button. I always have a problem with a button on a soccer jersey. It's just so unnecessary. So trash you, Orlando.
Yeah, I have the same issue with buttons. I see a button on a soccer shirt. I think it's the 1800s. The only team that's ever taken it a step further is when Manchester United released their Newton Heath green and yellow shirt, and they had strings on the neck that you could use to tie the neck up, which was something else. So
like a pirate shirt?
Yeah, you need to check it out. Manchester United, Newton Heath.
I think I would buy that
jersey. Google it. So I don't hate this jersey, but I do hate Nanny, who is modeling it. So it's going to be a trash on that basis alone.
I'm probably the most neutral on this jersey, but even to me, it's just pretty mediocre. So out of fairness to everybody else, I will finish us out with the trash. Next on our list is FC Cincinnati's new home uniform. For the listeners who haven't seen it yet, it's like a blue, like a dark navy blue with very thin alternating orange and blue, like a far brighter blue alternating vertical lines, so orange in the middle and blue and orange and so on. And then with the Adidas 3 stripes, orange on top. So, Mark, trash or cash?
I'm struggling with this one because I don't like the team particularly. And I don't like the overall look of the jersey particularly, but I like its component parts. Like, I like the body color. I like what they're trying to do with the stripes. That's interesting. I like that they have a different kind of neckline. I actually really like their sponsor as well. So it's weird. It's like a Frankenstein jersey for me. And I think their badge is horrible though. I hate their badge, but I'm going to go marginally trash. No, marginally cash. I take this far too seriously.
I think I would actually agree with you, Mark. Marginally cash. I mean, it's a solid jersey. It's not terrible. They didn't mess it up. It doesn't excite me, but at the same time, it has good elements. So marginally cash. I like that.
I'm in the same boat with both of you. I like it and I don't like it all at the same time. I'm a fan of the orange stripes on it. The blue stripes are a little weird with the dark blue behind it, but I'm going to say marginally cash.
I'll get rid of the marginal and just go cash. I'm a fan of this jersey. Our next one, however, I am not a fan of. Spoiler alert. It is New England Revolution's new away jersey. It's a pretty plain white shirt with like a weird graphic on it. If anyone has seen the new Spain away jersey, it's very much like that. It's the exact same template. The crest is black and white. It's very bland. I'll just start us off with this. I hate it. It's trash. Robert.
I'm going to say trash. I do like the sky blue 3 stripes and the ring around the right arm, but I don't like United Healthcare. So I'm based on just off of that. It's trash for me.
I feel like it's a mistake. I mean, how can this be their actual jersey? It has one color on one sleeve and one color on the other sleeve. It's not like they're doing an awesome, half thing like my dear beloved Blackburn Rovers. I mean, it's like they kind of designed it one way and the other as a, sample just to see which worked. And then the black and white of the logo. I mean, the one cool thing New England Revolution have going for them is the American flag-ish logo, and they even ruined that. I mean, this is the most trashy trash that I think we've looked at.
Yeah, so I have a confession to make, which is before I moved to the US, I picked an MLS team to follow from afar because I feel like in order to really engage with a sport, you've got to have skin in the game, right? You've got to have a kind of dog in the fight. And I picked New England, this is years ago, purely on the basis of them having England in their name. Obviously, I've come to my senses subsequently, although I do still like them. They are another of those MLS teams I have a soft spot for. And I agree, their logo is awesome. But I also agree with everything else that everyone else has said. And I think the best thing that any of us have said about this shirt was when Matt said, I think this is a mistake, or must be a mistake, or was a mistake, whatever exactly it was you said. But I thought the same thing. I looked at the image and I went, this was released in error. The proper one's going to be coming out a week from now. Yeah, it's trash.
I love all the solidarity that we have going on right now. Our next shirt is going to be Toronto FC's new home jersey. It is a red top with black diagonal lines and like a cool graphic on it. I personally think that although I struggle with how much stuff is on the shirt, the graphic can kind of mess with me a little bit. That being said, I am going to go with cash. Mark, what are your thoughts?
Here are my thoughts.
Oh, God! No, God, please, no! 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 No!
There you go.
So trash or cash?
Trash.
I actually kind of dig it. I mean, if I was a TFC fan, I would probably buy this. So we can have dissenting opinions on this one. I'm going to go cash.
Yeah, I'd buy this jersey. Cash. I love it. It's actually outside of the Hendricks jersey that was first. It's probably my favorite so far.
So moving on over into our next jersey, it's Colorado's new away kit. It is a white or very light green solid top with a brighter green on the crest, the Adidas logo, and on the 3 stripes that are on the shoulder. I personally am a big fan of Colorado's maroon and blue color scheme. So because they are departing from that, I'm going to call this trash. Robert, what are your thoughts?
So you can't see it in the picture that we have here, but as with Adidas this year and their propensity to put things on kits that you can't really make out, there is a topology map in the background of the jersey. So if you look at it really, really closely, you can see the elevation lines from Colorado. I think that's kind of cool. I'm going to say cash on this one, even though looking at the picture, you're just like, hey, it's a white kit with green stripes on there. But if you actually know it, it gives it a little bit more flavor. So cash.
Yeah, another club. I think maybe this is going to be the title of this podcast. Another club that I have a soft spot for. But bearing in mind, I did live in Colorado a sum total of about 15 and a half years. That being
what
said,
soccer teams in America have you not fallen in love with, Mark? That's what we need to call this podcast.
It just so happens we've hit on the only ones I really care for. I mean, it's literally Austin, obviously, the Rapids, Seattle, and New England. That's it.
And Switchbacks?
Well, they're USL. They're USL. I do like Montreal as well. That's because I have family there. But that's it. I mean, Chicago's a great city, but that is it. Anyhow, what were we saying? Yeah, so that being said, even though I had a soft spot or have a soft spot for the Rapids, I was never a season ticket holder. It was far too far to go from Colorado Springs. And also, I cannot stand maroon jerseys, so never purchased one of those. That being said, their centenary shirt, their away shirt, the blue one, that had the red and yellow on. So basically, it was the Colorado flag in jersey form. Gorgeous. Up there with this Hendricks jersey. So, I like this shirt. It's a little odd to begin with, but as Robert pointed out, it has that really neat, the topography piece, which actually covers 4 of Colorado's most significant peaks. I've seen it in the flesh. I've seen it in the thread. And it's nice. It had me on the edge of purchase, but not quite. So yeah, cash.
So, true story, first MLS match I ever attended was actually in the Old Mile High, and it was a Rapids match on July 4th. And I'm saying that only to say I remember and saw the original Rapids uniforms that this is a throwback to. And all that said, even with the topography, this just isn't working for me. Have to give it a trash. It's too close to our, frankly, change kits. So, but with like a crappier green than our green, and again, taking their what are normally unique colors, and you know it's Rapids when you turn on the TV, to now you're gonna be like, wait, is that Austin? Is that Rapids? Is that some jersey from Timbers I haven't seen before? Who is that? So no, I'm trashing it.
I saw to your point, I saw a really funny graphic about that. It was like a poster, and it showed all the MLS white jerseys. Have you seen it? A white jerseys of this year.
Third Degree,
every club,
blogger from FC Dallas did that.
Yeah, has a white jersey now in their portfolio. I mean, no club I don't think has a third jersey yet, so it's either obviously home or away, but everybody has them. And so it's weird. You literally have these mild variations on white, which is just Adidas in a nutshell, isn't it?
Wait, isn't the Jimi Hendrix jersey to the Seattle away? or the Seattle third jersey? I thought they already had
it was
No, it's not their third jersey. It's their.
Oh, really?
Oh, okay. So maybe they're the only one. Well, no, they have a white jersey.
Yeah, they do.
Huh.
Wait,
but they have to have
the
a wave
Sounders
green.
have a white
Surely
jersey,
that's a third
then
jersey.
That would be their
They do.
third jersey.
Seattle can't play without a wave green.
Mm-hmm. No, they do. Yeah, maybe they don't have a white this year. Maybe they're the only
Jimmy's the third.
MLS team. I mean, I don't know. I think at this point we're in danger of losing our listeners. So
Google.
Oh no, Connor!
This is what Google
Oh,
is.
no, he's
for.
googling live. Just talk amongst yourselves.
Well, I mean, it's a new secondary jersey. Okay, all right. So
Yeah, see,
darn.
told you. Thank you very much.
Moving on into our last jersey, it is LAFC's new away jersey. It's kind of like a light gold top with black accents. It's not white, but it's pretty close.
Ivory.
And for that
Really, it's like
reason,
an
I'm
ivory.
going trash. Mark, what are your
let's make this one
thoughts?
quick and painless. Trash. I like their home shirt, but trash on this one.
Yeah, this one is trash. Why did you put Los Angeles around the armholes?
Around the what? Sorry.
Armholes.
The armholes.
Oh, I thought you meant for a moment it was on the shorts. Sorry.
Armholes, the place where you put your arms.
Got you. Sorry. Yes. It's in the pronunciation. My apologies.
Trash.
I don't even know what do you say about that? Has anybody ever seen that on a shirt before? Like any text or lettering in like that? I just don't understand. I don't understand what I'm looking at. No, trash.
Can I just point out, I think I just saw Matt Barber slam a martini.
Well, that's slam finish, and it wasn't a martini. It was a Manhattan. That's a man's drink.
You had to clarify that it was a man's drink.
I'm a man. I'm
That's
40.
man right there in the title.
A drink that is all bourbon with some other flavoring. I'm not sure what else you would call that, except for a man drink.
Short story. I was at a wedding of my cousin's pre-COVID, and I was drinking right after it had come out. I was drinking a White Claw with my cousin, who informed me as we were both drinking this, hey, this is kind of like a young, like, sorority girl drink to be drinking. So, just so you know, when you go back to college, maybe not the first thing that you want to be reaching for. I was like, I understand. My 35-year-old cousin, former frat guy, I should say, comes by, he looks at us both and just dismisses us and goes, nice drink, guys. And I was so humiliated that this alpha.
And you probably liked it too, didn't you?
No, I didn't. I hate seltzer. Why would you want to drink fancy water? It doesn't make sense. Anyway, I digress. Moving on over into our NWSL and women's soccer updates. The NWSL has recently signed a sponsorship with Ally, and Ally's logo is going to be on the sleeve of all of their big clubs. Or not all of their big clubs. All of their clubs are big. All of their clubs will be having this Ally sleeve sponsorship. It's a big announcement for them. It's another good side of all of the investment that is going into the women's game. And hopefully we all get to see that continue. And now let's move into our world soccer updates for the men's game. Since we last taped an episode of the Austin Anthem podcast, we've gotten to see a good bit of bad U.S. men's national team and good U.S. men's national team. Now we are going to be typical American sports fans and start out with the bad. So with that being said, let's talk about that failure to qualify for the Olympics. Matt, what were your immediate thoughts and what was your immediate reaction to seeing the men's under-23 squad failing to qualify for this summer's Olympic Games?
Well, I mean, truth of the matter is, in most of the world, the Olympic soccer tournament just is not an important tournament. It's not a big deal. People don't worry about it. They don't get worked up about it. They don't pay attention to it. It's probably more important to many Americans and frankly North Americans, because I think it's important in Mexico too. But so it's probably more important to us than it is in Europe or South America, where they have bigger fish to fry. So what's a big deal is how long it's been since we've qualified. And so the fact that we failed to qualify for yet another Olympics, it's a failure. Look, it's not something that's going to define the program for the next, cycle or decade or anything like that. Because, teams don't win the Olympics or don't go to the Olympics all the time and end up having very successful national teams at the senior level. But at the same time, there's just no excuse for the U.S. men's national team to now, consistently multiple Olympic cycles, not be able to qualify. And it's just the way they lost. The goals they give up were just brutal, absolutely brutal. Like one right at the death of the half. We're looking full credit to Honduras for creating the chance and the goal that they got there. And, second, same on the second goal. It was completely a hustle play by the forward, but it was just such a, and I hate to dog on a young player, but it was such a bonehead play by the goalkeeper, just something that you don't even see in youth games, trying to, make a soft footed pass like that. So it's not just the fact that they haven't qualified for the Olympics, in so many years at this point. It's just the way that they lost. It showed a lack of urgency, a lack of importance, a lack of attention to the moment.
Robert, your thoughts?
Oh, you want me to say something about this?
That's my favorite game to play. I'll stop talking and see who wants to jump in. That's the perfect response right there, Robert.
I don't really care about the Olympics is the problem.
All right, let's.
Well, no. I'll talk about it. They haven't made it 2 cycles, which is a bad thing, but it is only the under 23. Some of those players will be part of the World Cup squad. Most of them will not. So it's not really a huge thing in my eyes that we didn't make it, because we're definitely going to make the World Cup now.
I appreciate your optimism.
I was pretty.
We have to.
I was pretty pessimistic myself, but that was far from the only bit of bad U.S. men's national team news that we got over these past few weeks.
And moving on to the good U.S. men's national team news. And first off, I must say, we did very unexpectedly lose Connor. There will be a GoFundMe set up for him, and hopefully next time we'll have a better microphone and Wi-Fi set up for him. But Daryl DK scored for Barnsley, a brace. I think it's inevitable that he's for sure going to, make the permanent move over there, and very good for him. And frankly, very good for the U.S. men's national team, because we actually seem to have, multiple interesting options at the forward spot.
Yeah, I like what DK's doing in the champion. Well, I say I like. He's going to ultimately play against my team eventually, and I don't like the prospect of him scoring on Forest. But, he scored 7 goals in, 12 games now? 2 in his last match. He's definitely on a hot streak, and Barnsley's sitting 5th presently, which means they occupy a playoff place. So, yeah, good for him.
And another aside, and I try not to hit on my former life's asides too much, but when I was with the Scorpions, we had his brother, Bright DK, who was far and away the biggest soccer player we've ever seen. Not tallest, but just biggest, most muscular dude that you would never imagine in a million years could run up and down a pitch for 90 minutes. Yet he was incredibly fit, had awesome pace, and was basically built almost like, well, more like an NFL safety, but, just to the normal person, certainly, look like, more of a football player, American football player, than soccer player. So that's one reason why I always follow Daryl kind of closely, just because I did know his brother for a time.
And on that note, we wrap up this week's show. Austin Anthem is a supporters group for Austin FC. Catch up with us online and become a member at austinanthem.org and on social media. Anthem merchandise is available on our online store. Free shipping of fantastic Greco gear for in the stands or around Austin. Merch money goes to fund our nonprofit's operation. Today we close out the pod with a singer, songwriter, producer known as Dossey, who brings a completely fresh yet vintage pop sound. She's gained notice and acclaim recently by the music world, including NPR, KUTX, 101X, and the Austin Music Awards. For more information, visit www.dosseymusic.com. The song is a new release titled Jump, and we hope you enjoy it. If you'd like to send us music to use in the pod or know some musicians who might be interested, drop us an email at podcast@austinanthem.org. We'd love to showcase more Austin music and musicians to Austin soccer fans. This episode was hosted by Matt Barber, Connor Heffernan, Mark Turner, and Robert Avery. Remember to leave us a review and subscribe to the show. Send tips on how to make the show better to podcast@austinanthem.org. And always remember, wear a mask, stay safe, and have a good day.
There ain't nothing I wouldn't do for you. So give me a chance to prove it. I'm up against a wall until my skin turns blue. Out on the edge and I'm slipping. I see you. Lay on your knees, hide in front of you. I want to run to the edge. I feel it too. Maybe I could jump if you would jump with me. And I know it ends softly in the arms of love. Maybe if we're lucky we could learn to sing or fulfill our dreams as a both of us. On the other side, you could save my life if we could only jump, 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 jump. Oh, we know they will wonder what became of us. Oh, 3 words fall, sleeping in the shadow now, buried at the bottom of. Jump, if you could jump with me. And I know we'll land softly in the arms of love. Maybe if we're lucky we could learn to sing or fulfill our dreams as the both of us. On the other side, you could save my life love. Maybe if we're lucky, we could learn to sing or fulfill our dreams as the both of us. On the other side, you could save my life.
Are you downloading porn in the background, Connor? Is that why it's skipping? Huh?